The neighbor arrived with wine at 10 p.m. The knock was soft, almost hesitant, and when he opened the door, she stood there holding a half-finished bottle like it was the only thing keeping her balanced. Her eyes were red, her voice trembling as she said, "My husband left me 6 months ago, and I need someone to talk to. Please." In that moment, everything about the night changed. What started as a quiet evening turned into one of the most unexpected and human moments he'd ever experience. Before we begin, if you love emotional, real-life stories that remind you of the power of kindness, make sure you subscribe, like, and comment on the channel. Your support helps us grow this community of gentle hearts here on Kindness Tales. He didn't know her well. She lived 2 doors down, they shared occasional waves, quick small talk while taking out the trash, nothing more. She was always polite, always put together, always in a hurry. But tonight, she looked different. Her oversized sweater hung loosely, her hair was messy, and she held the bottle like she wasn't sure if bringing it was a mistake. He stepped aside. "Come in," he said gently. She walked in slowly, almost apologetic. "I'm sorry for showing up so late. I didn't know who else to talk to." She sat on the edge of his couch like she wasn't sure she deserved the space. He sat across from her. "It's okay. I'm here. What's going on?" The words didn't come fast. They came in waves. She told him her name again, Emma, though he already knew. And then all the layers she had kept hidden for months began to unravel. 6 months ago, her husband packed a suitcase, said he needed space, and never came back. No argument led up to it, no warning signs she could clearly remember. One day she had a partner, a home, a future. The next day she had silence. She tried to hide it from the world. Show strength, go to work, keep the house clean, stay social enough that people didn't worry. But inside, she felt like she was falling through endless air, unable to grab onto anything solid. Tonight, she reached her breaking point. "I don't need a relationship," she said through shaky breaths. "I don't need someone to fix my life. I just need someone to listen. Someone who won't judge me for falling apart." He nodded, leaning forward. "I can do that." She looked up, surprised. "Why? We barely know each other." He smiled softly. "Because everyone deserves someone who cares, at least for a moment. And tonight, that someone can be me." Those simple words broke something open inside her. Tears came, quiet at first, then uncontrollable. She tried to apologize for crying, but he shook his head, telling her to let it out. For months she had swallowed everything, the loneliness, the confusion, the anger, the fear. Now it all poured out like a river finally breaking free from a dam. She told him how she still checked her phone hoping for a message from her ex. How she kept his old shirts in the closet because she couldn't bring herself to donate them. How she avoided the right side of the bed because it made her chest feel heavy. How she smiled at neighbors, smiled at coworkers, smiled at everyone, but almost forgot what it felt like to smile for real. He listened. Not with impatience or pity, but with the kind of quiet presence that makes another person feel safe. He let her talk for as long as she needed. Sometimes she paused, sometimes she rambled, sometimes she apologized again. But he stayed. After a while, she wiped her face and whispered, "I didn't come here for advice. I just couldn't be alone tonight." He nodded. "You're not alone." They sat in silence for a moment, the kind that isn't awkward but healing. She looked around the living room, warm lights, a soft blanket draped on the chair, the faint smell of cinnamon from a candle he forgot he lit earlier. "It's peaceful here," she said. He chuckled. "It's usually just quiet. But peaceful works too." She smiled for the first time that night. After a moment, she set the wine bottle on the coffee table. "I brought it because I thought drinking would help me forget. But maybe I don't need to forget." Maybe I just need to feel understood. He nodded. Sometimes kindness is more comforting than anything in a bottle. She looked down at her hands. Do you ever feel like you're failing at life? All the time, he said honestly. But talking helps. Sharing helps. Being human helps. That made her laugh, a small but real laugh. She leaned back on the couch, finally allowing her shoulders to relax. They talked about small things after that: work, neighbors, random stories, even the broken mailbox on their street that everyone kept ignoring. Slowly, the heaviness around her began to lift, replaced by something gentler. At one point, she said, "You didn't have to let me in tonight. Most people wouldn't." He shrugged. Most people underestimate how meaningful a moment of kindness can be. She nodded thoughtfully. I hope I can do that for someone someday. You will, he said. You already did by trusting me with your truth. A quiet warmth filled the room. Minutes turned into an hour. The night grew colder outside, but inside, the conversation created its own kind of warmth. She didn't need fixing. She didn't need to start over. She just needed to be seen, even if only for one night. Eventually, she stood up to leave. She looked steadier now, her breathing calmer, her expression softer. Thank you, she said at the door. For being kind when you didn't have to. He smiled. Anytime. She walked out into the hallway, but before turning away, she looked back. Tonight. I didn't feel abandoned. I felt human again. He watched her walk back to her apartment, closing her door gently, as if she didn't want to disturb the quiet hope she'd just found. As he returned to his living room, he realized something: kindness doesn't always look like grand gestures or dramatic rescues. Sometimes it's a late-night knock, a bottle of wine untouched, a broken voice asking for nothing but a moment of understanding. And sometimes, offering that moment is more powerful than we realize. In a world where everyone is carrying something unseen, where people smile on the outside while struggling on the inside, one kind conversation can remind someone that they still matter. That they're not invisible. That even in the darkest hours, there is light waiting behind a neighbor's door. Tonight, kindness stitched together a heart that was beginning to crumble. And maybe tomorrow, that same kindness will ripple outward, touching someone else who needs it just as deeply. Because every act of kindness, big or small, expected or unexpected, has the power to restore someone's hope in the world. And sometimes, even in ourselves. So the next time someone knocks, or someone hesitates to share their story, remember this night. Remember that your gentle presence might be the kindness they've been searching for. And may this story inspire all of us to choose compassion, to slow down, to listen, and to be the quiet miracle someone didn't know they needed.